The first story we're going to talk about Eloro. Okay, it's not just silver. Okay, it's also tin. In fact, this could be one of the biggest tin discoveries in a generation. This is an absolutely amazing deposit. It does have a lot of silver. They've been drilling the Santa Barbara area for several months now and hitting long runs of lead zinc silver mineralization. And what did they do? They started drilling southward. So they moved south along this target area and they announced this hole this week 171.57 gram per ton silver equivalent over 373.4 meters. Now, to put that in perspective, that's something like about 2.1 gram per ton gold equivalent. I like to always think in gold over 373 meters. Now, that's a big number. Okay, that's about 750 gram meter intercept in terms of gold. Okay, so that puts it in context. But notice I've circled tin there. Tin makes up the bulk of the metal value in this intercept. 0.22% tin. That's 2,200 grams of tin in 1 ton of rock. So about 2.2 kilos. Translates to a little over 5 pounds, I believe it is, of tin metal. Okay, and if you look at the tin price right now, it's about $21 a pound. That's over $100 in tin alone in this drill intercept. And of course, we have other metals. We get the lead and the zinc in there, and of course, a bit of silver. Okay, but this is a really interesting deposit, and watching it morph and change, and as we learn more, is just remarkable. But I would say this thing's got to be one of the biggest metal discoveries in a long time. I think this is going to just be just hands down a world-class deposit. Now let's talk about the details. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to look at okay, this is the one deposit. I have to turn the map sideways because it's so blooming big it won't fit on the slide. So north is to the left. It's a bit confusing. Sorry about that, guys, but that's the way it is. Okay, now the company has been diligently drilling their target area, which is in the fine red dash line that's or blob that's kind of towards the left-hand side of the image here. It's about 1,600 meters long, this Santa Barbara target. But this drill hole that they just announced is way down there towards the southern end. I've circled it in yellow so people know where that drill hole lies. Okay, it's sitting right there. It was actually drilled from underground, one of the adits that's in the mountain there, and it hit it just hit an astounding amount of tin in this hole. Now it gets really interesting. Now notice the company has quickly and aggressively put a bunch of planned drill holes and is currently drilling new holes south of this area. Now, why is that? Well, because they think the vector that they're seeing is this mineralization is basically trending in a south-southeast direction. And the pink arrows I put on there to show, that the Santa Barbara area is wide open for expansion. So they've already got some holes into the ground in that southern area, but they've got a lot more planned. Those red dash holes are all planned holes. This is exciting. Obviously they must think they're onto something big to see this. They are adding another surface drill. So this story is only going to get bigger and better over time. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, this is a cross-sectional view through that drill hole. You can see it was collared underground. So the start of the hole is actually below surface. It's in an adit, a small tunnel that goes into the mountain. And you can see here that the big intercept, that headline intercept, the 373 meters, it basically starts at the interface with the rock there, and it goes down. And a lot of the highest grade is actually kind of in the middle of that big purple line there. Now why I bring that up is because there is something really interesting appearing in the geophysics that was done here recently. Now, notice that this system, that big intercept, is wide open. There's nothing cutting it off at depth. So this could continue down into the ground. That's why I put 3 yellow question marks there, is because this thing has no limit right now. This thing could extend deep in the ground. Now, notice the assays from the adit, as well as that hole DSBU-1. There's a lot of mineralization in that hole. So there's clearly some more mineralization off to the right-hand side from the color of this big whopping drill hole that was announced. Okay, so my hunch is there's going to be a lot more mineralization subsurface Do not forget the company is going to drill this area from all those newly planned holes that I showed you on the previous map. So we will know soon if there is a big stinking system hiding underneath the surface here. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, now why this image is so important. Look, this tells the story. Okay, we are now looking southeast-ish. Okay, it's a little bit confusing because we're kind of looking obliquely at it, kind of at an angle, but down into the ground, and we're looking at this giant bag of potatoes in red that is magnetics. Okay, it's a model of the magnetism or the rocks that are magnetic in the subsurface. Now, why is this so important in this particular deposit? Well, word of the day, pyrrhotite. Pyrrhotite is a mineral. It's an iron sulfide that happens to be magnetic. And guess what? In the high grade tin interval, which is basically in that area that I've circled in yellow, there's a lot of pyrrhotite. Okay, so now the company is of the belief that the pyrrhotite is a proxy. It basically says, hey, this stuff, this body of rock here is likely mineralized. Wow. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that basically that ginormous red blob there, which extends well to the south, it actually dips gently southward and also underlies this hole as well as extends some ways to the east. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it goes off to the left there. You know, this thing is absolutely huge. Okay, so the company has basically stepped back and said, whoa, we're onto something super big here. Let's not quite go to the resource level just yet. I mean, there's obviously a lot of drilling to be done here. They've got a lot planned. I think that's a good move. I think progressively drilling this southward with this model now in hand is a great move. And, you know, the outcome of this, who knows? I mean, then if I said numbers, it would just sound like crazy talk. So I won't say numbers. I'll shut my mouth. Good.